To connect Sapphire to shore power, simply lift up the cover, lift up the lead like so, and push firmly in until it's all the way in. Put the cover down to protect it from the weather, and if you want to disconnect, simply lift it up, push down the blue switch, and pull out like so. The gas lock is located at the rear of the boat. Simply lift up the steps and connect with the bungee. Inside you have two gas lockers, two gas bottles, and they're both turned on. In between the gas bottles, you have an isolation switch. This will always be on. The reason you need to know about this switch is if you smell gas and you want to cut it off in case of emergency, simply come here, turn it off immediately, and give us a phone call. The inverter sources the power to all the sockets throughout the boat. The inverter is located at the front of the helm. The switch has three positions, middle, left and right, and they're all self-explanatory. We are currently plugged into shore power. So if we flick it to charger only, it will light up and the batteries will now have charge. If you wanted to use the sockets, simply turn the switch to the left to on and all the sockets will now be live. When you're not using any power, just leave the position in the middle and this will turn off and preserve the power. To use the gas hob, simply lift up the glass and ensure that both of the gas in isolation switches are turned on. One's for the cooker, one's for the hob. You got your sparker here, and then your gas hobs here. Simply push in, hold this until it's lit like so. Hold it for a few seconds before slowly releasing. To turn it off, put it back to the neutral position. Turn your isolation switches off, and then close the lid when it's cold enough to do so. The heater is very simple to use. You have a thermostat in the middle to present what temperature we're currently at, and then you have in the top left corner a fan. If this is pressed, it will try and provide cold air throughout the boat by circulating the air that's already in the boat. In the top right position, you have a heater, which when you press it, after 10 minutes, it will start providing heat. And then you have a temperature gauge where you can try and set the temperature that you would like it to be. To use the TV, ensure that your inverter is turned on and that the sockets behind the TV are also on. When you want to watch TV, simply press the on button and just wait for it to load up. Like so. If you don't get signal straight away, you've got an aerial located at the top helm position and just adjust that accordingly to get signal. To go to the DVD player, you have this source button just above the red button. Push that and go down to number 8, which is DVD. And the DVD insert slot is just on the right there. Use the radio, hold the on button in the top left hand corner and it will light up like so. And you have the switches here to change the channels, volume up and down, and to turn it off, push and hold like so. At the front helm position you have various switches and gauges. The big gauge in the middle is your revometer, which will display roughly how fast you're travelling. So at 4 miles an hour you're roughly doing 9,500 revs. You have switches along here. The first one is your water switch, which you'd like to leave on at all times, unless of course in the middle of the night it causes some noise irritants. You have two switches here, which are your windscreen wipers left and right. You've got a horn, your bilge pump, which is always on auto, and your fridge that obviously you want on at all times. Next to these dials here, you have your engine warning lights. If any of these come on, please moor up as soon as possible and then give us a phone call. To start up this boat, make sure that the throttle is in neutral and simply pull it out towards you and push it forward to put some revs on. Simply turn the key to heat, which is on left, and hold it there for about 8 seconds before turning the key to start like so. Slowly ease the throttle backwards into the neutral position, and when it hits neutral it will pop straight back in. This is when you'd now go untie and begin your journey. To turn off the boat, simply push and hold the stop button and turn the key back into the off position. To use the bow thruster, push and hold the on button and the lights will illuminate. If you want the bow of the boat to go left, push and hold the left button. If you want the bow of the boat to go right, use the right button. You don't want to tap these as it uses up a lot of power, and you also don't want to push and hold them for too long because again it will drain the power quite quickly. But the engine needs to be on for these to work. Underneath the helm position you have two gauges. One of them will display your water and the other one will display your fuel. Both of these will be full upon arrival. Behind the front helm position you have another two gauges. These are both your waste gauges, one for the back of the boat and one for the front of the boat, as they are run on separate waste tanks. These will both be empty upon departure. As you have two helm positions on this boat, you have to switch whether you're driving from upper steering or lower steering. Currently we are on upper steering. If you want to move it down to lower steering, just simply pull it out, twist it and push it back in, so we're now in line with lower steering. All this does is lock the throttle, so before changing, please ensure that both throttles are in the neutral position. If it's not in the neutral position, it will get stuck like so and not turn. When it's back in the neutral position, it frees it up like so. To use a toilet, you have a switch that can go left or right and a hand pump that goes up or down. The switch, when it's in the left position, allows water in when you pump it. So before using a toilet, simply pump it like so a few times, and this will allow water to go into the bowl. If you then use the toilet, switch it to the right, and then you can pump your waste away like so. Always leave it in the water out position. The shower is like any household normal shower. You have the temperature gauge here and how hard you want the pressure of the water. The only difference is the water tray will fill up with water slowly. At the end of your shower, please push and hold the water pump, and this will pump away any waste water.